you guys? Hi guys. Hey. Okay, let me start over.
What?
Hey, what's up you guys? Deadlift Queen Workout 2, Week 1. If you've ever wanted to join my program Stronger by the Day, now is the time. Come on over. I'm gonna show you guys the workout. I'm actually going to do a voiceover this workout so I can get into the nitty gritty of each lift and give you some tips along the way. Come on, come on. I'll meet you at the gym. Let's go. Okay, let's get started into our workout. On Stronger by the Day, I do offer a generalized warm-up that you can follow, and you can basically just either toggle it on or off. The reason we have that flexibility is because I know a lot of people have their own preferred warm-up that they do before something specific like a deadlift day or a squat day, so they know what their specific limitations are. So feel free to follow this warm-up or add in things that you know work for you. So just getting started, we have some ankle and wrist rolls, and then runner's lunge. I like anything that kind of just opens up my legs, gets the kinks out after sitting at my desk all day long, and gets my body moving. We typically follow the structure of ramp for a warm-up. So R stands for raise your heart rate, then there's activate and mobilize. As you can see, something like these inchworms are doing all of those things. And then P stands for potentiate. So after your generalized warm-up and you get into movement specifics, so let's say we're squatting, or if you're deadlifting, you start with 45 pounds or very low weight, and then you progress up until your working sets. So that is the ramp protocol. This exercise here is our black burns. I love this exercise if you have really crunchy shoulders. Always keep your thumbs pointing up and try to reach out away from your body as far as you can. So if you can compare me doing them to how Emmerich's doing them, I am really focused on getting that stretch in my scaps and in my mid back and raising the chest at the end of the range of motion. I always incorporate some sort of PVC pipe work. It just helps me get ready to go and it feels good on my shoulders. So I do like these around the worlds, and then I do PVC pipe pass-throughs. You can also do this thing where you start your pass-through with the bar behind you and your palms are facing in front of you. So if that makes sense, it's a different way to open up the shoulder compared to just a regular pass through. There you can see my palms are facing in front of me, and it kind of looks weird with my shoulders and my hands there, but that feels so good. And yeah, this is me just like trying to get out of sitting at my desk all day mode. Next, I'm gonna do some core activations. So I'm working in some dead bugs. I didn't film this and I didn't get a chance to do the full warm up on this training session, but we also have programmed half kneeling Palloff presses. I feel like that's a great movement to incorporate, especially before you start doing stuff like deficit deadlifts, to get your core activated and ready to push. Moving on, today we have overhead press. We've got 2 sets of 5 at 75%, and then we're shooting for an AMRAP set. So a lot of people wonder, like, what's the point of doing an AMRAP set? So the way we program Stronger by the Day is we have certain thresholds based on your training max. So when I say 2 sets of 5 at 75%, that 75% is of your training max. That's something that if you have no idea what it is, you can just skip that part on our onboarding and we'll help you figure it out. Or you can just take a guess, and the app has thresholds for those AMRAP sets or for certain targets for the main lifts, overhead press, squat, bench, and deadlift, and hip thrust actually. So we have thresholds for those main lifts, and if you were to not hit the threshold, or if you were to far exceed the threshold, then you could either raise or lower your training max based on what you hit. So that's a little bit of information about the program. We're moving on to our accessory for deadlifts. This week is deficit deadlifts. I'm warming up a little bit more here and doing a Jefferson curl. I know this looks super weird, but it feels so good. Just make sure that you're not using a barbell that's too heavy for you. So I'm standing on a plate here. This is just a like 2-inch deficit, which felt pretty good. I think I'm gonna stick with conventional deadlift throughout this Deadlift Queen block. I worked up to 215 pounds for my deficit deadlifts, and that felt pretty good. I am still cautious based on how my pelvic floor feels, and really just going with that as my guide, but also trying to push myself and make sure that I'm prioritizing my core work. We have a cameo from the one and only Grid. How much weight is this, Grid? He's just doing my weight plus a little bit more. So Grid is also gonna be pushing his deadlift. It's not something that he has been doing lately. So we're all using this as a challenge. Overall, these deficit deadlifts felt really good for me. Moving on to face pulls, we had a high rep set of face pulls and we're shooting for 20 reps here. I'm gonna talk a little bit about face pulls and how I do them. Really, I'm thinking about shoulder health and upper back strength. For me, it is a rear delt exercise, but I like to get that wide external rotation. It feels good on my shoulders and I feel like I'm really working my rotator cuff in the entire movement. So you can do a face pull that is more focused on your rear delts, but for me, I don't really prioritize like rear delt growth for the face pull movement. They're probably better movements. So this is how I do them. I think about keeping my hands wide and away from each other, and my attachment is not like the typical rope attachment. I have an attachment that lets me get that wide position. I've also seen people do 2 rope attachments on one handle so that you can grab either side of the rope and you have room to get really wide in those. As I'm getting fatigued, you can see that my hands are kind of creeping in, so try to avoid that. And then number 1, Grid doing his face pulls. You're pulling kind of high there, Grid. What do you have to say for yourself? It looks good. It's just kind of a different way to do it. So he's got a little bit of a lean and pulling really high. I feel like, yeah, maybe you could come a little lower, but not a big deal. Moving on to Grid's favorite movement. Good mornings, y'all. I just uploaded a technique video for good mornings. This is one that deserves some explanation. Why are we doing good mornings in our program? So we're using this movement as an opportunity to build strength in the deadlift and build strength in the squat. So really we're focused on erector strength. Some people program this thinking that you're going to get some glute activation, you're gonna get some hamstring and posterior chain activation. Yeah, it's there, but we program it for the purpose of building our erectors and building our back strength. And that is, if you've ever seen a squat where someone looks like they're doing this, they look like they're good morning-ing, and they have a really horizontal torso. Sometimes they fail a lift because their hips rise too fast and they cannot keep up with pushing their traps into the bar and they get stuck in a lift. So we're using this as an accessory. There's no need to go super heavy on this. Grid was working on his form because this is a new movement to him, but the cues that we gave are try to keep the bar over your midfoot, get in a low bar position for this one, have a slight bend in the knee and just push the hips back. Next, we have a deficit kettlebell stiff leg deadlift. This one, I feel like I wish I would have taken a little bit extra time to find a better setup for both Grid and I. We probably should get 2 plates so that we have a little bit more room for our kettlebell. So I even am just like reaching a little far forward here, and I don't love the way that this looks. So I'm gonna adjust that for next time and try not to be so lazy. I also have hamstring curls, and this was a fun superset. You have 3 exercises and you're just going for 30 seconds per exercise. And so you've got hamstring curls, dumbbell lateral raises, and close grip push-ups. You're just doing 2 sets of 30 seconds unbroken, going one after the other back to back. Spicy set, a nice way to incorporate a superset if you don't have a lot of time by just timing them. Instead of counting your reps, you're doing 30 seconds of as many as you can do. And I was definitely fried by the time that push-ups got here. You'll notice that this workout is like more of a full body training. Training isn't always full body on Stronger by the Day, but in this cycle, we're like pursuing strength, and our training split is less about a body part split. It's more about movement patterns. So we have lots of accessories, as you can see, and lots of work that aims for general hypertrophy and general strength, but we're looking to develop and then express top end strength, so that 1 rep max strength. So on this day 2, we have like our primary lift, which is the overhead press, and then we have overhead press and deadlift accessories. That's just 1 day out of the week of this new program, Deadlift Queen. It allows us to have like higher frequency of those individual lifts because this isn't the only time we have a deadlift focused movement. So we did the deficit deadlifts today, but on day 4, which is what I'm training when I'm recording this, we have a primary deadlift day. So we'll go a little bit heavier and we'll focus on the deadlift from the floor. And then we'll also work on deadlift and overhead press accessories on that day too. So far I'm liking this split, even though it's pretty demanding. Let me know what you guys think. If you like those more voiceover style workouts, hopefully this will be helpful to any of our members who are curious about the why behind the programming. And we will see you in the next video. Thank you guys. Bye.